Before things can get better, we must first have hope that they will. The first step to a better course of action is usually the most difficult. Hope is the virtue that grants us an optimistic mindset when we are surrounded in darkness. It is a grace that allows us to yearn and has an esoteric meaning of struggle. Hello, I'm Michael J. Auger, creator of the Allcento Tarot, and today let's explore the 27th card of the Major Arcana. The theological virtues of hope, faith, and charity are not included in what has become the standard Marseille-style tradition, and so these important virtues are often projected onto other cards. The inspiring star, the tricksy moon, and the life-affirming sun can also be thought of as embracing the ideas of hope, faith, and charity. This is carried forward into the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition as well as the Marseille. However, I personally believe that while there is a correlation between these cards, they deserve to each stand alone. Some of the oldest tarot decks that still exist were commissioned by the Visconti-Sforza family, and these decks include depictions of the star, the moon, and the sun, as well as the virtues of hope, faith, and charity. The Hope card of the Visconti-Sforza Madrone, also known as the Carrie Yale deck, depicts a crowned woman looking up towards a ray of light, praying for her salvation. At the bottom of the card is an old man lying on the ground with a noose around his neck, and faded words that once read, Judah Traditor. Judas represents the opposite of hope, because he lacked the hope that Jesus would forgive him for his traitorous betrayal. Attached to the arm of the woman is a rope that connects her to an anchor. The anchor is an ancient symbol of hope due to its nautical purpose of providing stability and safety during storms. When a ship drops anchor, it grounds itself to a specific spot from which it will not move. When lifted for a new voyage, the anchor represents rising hopes of looking forward, following dreams and goals. The anchor, as a symbol of hope, was adopted by Christianity as a way to disguise the cross on which Jesus was crucified. The sacrifice of the Christ is what gives hope to all sinners. In addition to the anchor, another symbol of hope is a lighthouse. Rocky shores and shallow waters are dangerous, and a lighthouse is what helps ships at sea in their struggle to find safe passage into harbors at night. And yet another symbol of hope is a bird. Many birds sing in the morning darkness to anticipate the rising of the sun and celebrate their survival of the night. A poem by Emily Dickinson titled "Hope is the Thing with Feathers" uses a metaphor of a bird to represent the endurance and resilience of hope. The poem suggests hope is a constant protector of the soul, and like a bird, it whistles in the dark, sings through the storms, and never asks for anything in return. Dickinson does not identify a species of bird in her poem. However, the depiction of hope in the so-called Mantegna tarot includes a phoenix. The phoenix is a mythological bird that is said to rise from its own ashes. In a different poem by Alexander Pope, it is written that hope springs eternal in every human breast, suggesting that no matter how bleak a situation may be, there is a fundamental fire within the human spirit that never goes out and helps us continue our struggle. Although it is in our nature to get knocked down, it is also in our nature to get back up again. Although the card of hope has been forgotten by most modern versions of the tarot, it was included in the Minchiate tradition, and there are numerous examples of hope depicted as a woman in prayer, looking upwards to the divine force, symbolized as a levitating crown. Hope is a deep and unshakable trust in the divine, which allows our spirit to feel light and free. It is a choice that is both an act of will and a surrender to grace. And Here is the version of this card from the Allcento tarot. In this depiction, hope is represented by the figurehead of a lady securely affixed to the bow of a ship that acts as a guide through troubled waters. A 7-pointed halo signifies hope as a virtue. She embodies the Hermetic principle of rhythm, stating that everything flows in and out, like the tides of the ocean. The secret is to focus on the breath. Inhale, exhale, and embrace change. With this understanding, change and variation become less extreme. The sea of life can often be stormy, but hope is the anchor of safety that sustains us through our struggle. When the weather of life gets rough, as it often does, it can at times seem overwhelming to the point where it is tempting to give up and give in to despair. However, the grace of hope provides the optimism needed to actively struggle for the change that we need. In the background of this card shines Venus, known as the morning star that announces the dawn, as well as a pair of swallows, which are one of the first birds to appear at the end of winter and the start of spring. There's also a waterfall, as hope springs eternal, and a lighthouse to guide us on our journey. The lighthouse sits on top of the sign of the septenary, a 3-sided triangle struggling to break free from a 4-sided square. This symbol of struggle of an active breakthrough can also be seen in cards 7 and 17. The charioteer of the Chariot card struggles to keep his horses together and perseveres. The star struggles in the dark to find inspiration before dawn and also prevails. So too, the 27th card of hope successfully guides our struggle. In the arms of the ship's figurehead is a locked box of Pandora that can be opened by the key around the lady's neck. The name Pandora means all gifts, for the gods and goddesses gave Pandora all the gifts of humankind, both good and evil. However, when Pandora opened the vessel, all of the gifts escaped back into the world, with one exception. Hope is the one gift that remains, even when all else seems lost. We must not have blind hope, but hope with eyes wide open. If we keep our chin up and follow our true will, we will progress towards a better future. And I hope you will continue on this quest with me. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment to share your support. And as always, I invite you to visit my website, offbeatartwork.com, where you can request a custom tarot reading, as well as learn more about me, the Allcento Tarot, and my career as a freelance artist. Until next time, brightest blessings on your spiritual journey.